Branch exit MJ Waterman. Fade in. A woman's voice with a faint California Chicano accent.
My purpose is to show you how I'm changing our world for the better.
Shots of barren fields, hungry children.
5 years ago, I successfully added nitrogen to the DNA of plants that don't naturally produce it.
A crop duster plane releases a red cloud over farmland.
Before my breakthrough, nitrogen was sprinkled on top like sugar on cereal. But what if it rained? What if the wind blew it away? If you induce nitrogen directly into the seed DNA, you remove Mother Nature's risks.
Microscopic view of nitrogen injected into seed DNA.
Wheat, corn, soy, life-sustaining crops can now thrive in poor soil and harsh climates. I'm beating nature at her own game.
Healthy cornfields and acres of wheat sway in the wind. A simple family eating together at a simple table.
If you fund my work, we'll sell seeds all over the world and improve both lives and livelihoods.
A Sudanese farmer, 50s, smiles proudly at his healthy crops. Close-up of the woman speaking. Isabel Castilla, PhD, 35. Serious, stoic, self-assured. She's Latina American and pretty, but doesn't dwell much on either.
We can no longer rely on nature. Only science can save us now.
Interior Ag Corp headquarters, large conference room day. Isabel stands in front of a table full of white men, C-level executives of Agriculture Corporation, aka Ag Corp, the world's largest bioagriculture conglomerate. The IP director, 60s, rubs his double chin.
Miss Castilla.
Dr. Castilla.
Dr. Castilla. Why fund your... We already have a large R&D lab and profitable portfolio of patented seeds.
He flips dismissively through her proposal. Isabel answers in a tone one uses when speaking to a toddler.
Sir, AgCorp provided chemicals for World Wars I and II. In peacetime, AgCorp designed fertilizers and herbicides from those same chemicals, marketing them as lawn care for the shiny new American subdivisions.
David Haughton, PhD, 50. Isabel's African-American boss enters the conference room quickly and quietly. He nods to Isabel.
Once every lawn glowed a perfect emerald green, AgCorp turned to new revenue stream. Your scientists genetically modified crop seeds with chemicals built in so farmers could now easily fight pests and weeds. Gentlemen, we are now in the 21st century and consumers are aware of what is in their food. They are voting with their pocketbooks, preferring cleaner food for their families. That is why
She gestures towards Haughton, leaning against the back wall.
we request funding for the Sustainable Bioagricultural Laboratory, the SBA.
Her next slide shows a sleek, modern space for food innovation with both a giant greenhouse and a high-tech lab.
I will create the future of AgCorp. High-volume, reliably engineered food without chemicals.
Haughton passes out spiral-bound reports. His calm voice is like audible velvet.
This is a 5-year forecast based on current sales in sustainable markets we intend to crush. Our name and brand power alone will quickly push sales into double digits.
Haughton notices the men tuck the report into their briefcases and notebooks without a glance.
We do request you review it thoroughly.
And remember, once the lab is up and running, AgCorp will buy my patent.
The execs side-eyed each other. Dan Lassiter, late 60s, CEO AgCorp, stands up. Isabel takes the hint.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Lassiter escorts Isabel and Haughton out.
We'll let you know.
He closes the door behind them. Interior AgCorp headquarters, hallway, day. Isabel and Haughton loiter outside the door for a moment.
And now we wait.
What's there to debate? Without me, AgCorp will be irrelevant in 10 years.
Hard to turn an ocean liner on a dime.
Well, unless I can turn around this ancient boat at least halfway, it'll sink.
Haughton chuckles.
I know that you know that, but you'll have to prove it to them. Let's go to work on your humility speech.
Interior AgCorp headquarters, large conference room, same. Lassiter returns to his seat.
Thoughts, gentlemen?
John Deerfield, 60s, SVP of Global Strategy, leans forward.
It's true, a consumer shift is underway, but it is enough of a threat that we invest millions into a market we've actually avoided.
Horatio Jones, 60s, SVP of Global Sales, addresses the group.
The board wants 3 changes this year. diversity hires, innovation, and market relevance. I'd say we can check all those boxes right now.
Which will keep the board happy for now. Even if that newfangled lab were to go tits up, we could combine the current lab into that space, no harm done.
Lassiter looks around the table.
However, before we plan for disaster, let's maximize the effort at hand. I want partners in the sustainable space. Big, important partners.
Voices rise as executives toss ideas back and forth.
A sustainable market will be a tough nut to crack. Bring in anyone who might give us an edge into the market.
He stands up, signaling the end of the meeting.
Now go get her done.
Interior Ag Corps headquarters. Small conference room day. Haughton sits silently. Isabel paces in front of the windows. Lassiter and Jones enter.
Mr. Lassiter.
Dr. Castilla, Dr. Haughton.
Jones reaches to shake Isabel's hand.
This is our Senior Vice President of Global Sales, Mr. Jones.
Isabel smiles and shakes Jones's hand. Jones pulls her closer and speaks in feigned wonderment.
Dr. Castilla, our Chief Scientist of Sustainable R&D.
Jones raises both an eyebrow and himself to full height.
Very impressive.
Jones winks at Isabel. She pulls her hand away, suddenly uncomfortable. Haughton breaks the tension.
What news from the executive suite?
The funding is approved.
Isabel and Haughton exhale happily.
Great news. Of course, I have plenty of improvements to the initial lab design, plus an updated list of equipment we need now that I've seen what's missing in the older lab.
Lassiter makes a T with his hands.
Whoa, Missy, let's not get carried away too soon.
I need executive support on this, and time is of the essence. How can I be sure the SBA will be finished out properly?
He looks her over from blouse to pumps.
Darling, I'm sure we can come up with something.
She tries to wave away his comment good-naturedly, but is clearly rattled. She backs away from him.
Now, let's stay focused.
Haughton steps between Lassiter and Isabel to shake Lassiter's hand, but mostly to lighten the increased tension.
Thank you, sir, for your vote of confidence.
Lassiter stares thoughtfully at Isabel.
Confidence? For me to have confidence in this team, I'm realizing some ground rules must be established.
Haughton steps in again.
Yes, sir. We're on board and excited to be part of this new, an important chapter of Ag Corps' evolution, shall we say?
Lassiter's eyes narrow on Haughton.
Loyalty.
Isabel and Haughton nod hesitantly.
Ground rule number 1 is loyalty. When I say jump, you two jump. Don't ask how high or how long, just jump.
What's rule number 2?
Repeat number 1 till I say stop.
Interior UC Davis, cafeteria at noon. Isabel and Ian Murphy, PhD 50s, carry trays of food. Exterior UC Davis, cafeteria patio, moments later. They settle into a corner table. Murphy assesses Isabel's quiet demeanor.
So, how's the new job?
It's good. It's fine.
It's not what you pictured.
Isabel puts her fork down.
There's a lot of work to do on several levels.
Shocking.
I know, you were right. But it's exciting, starting an entirely new division in a place like Ag Corps.
She leans forward, whispering secretively.
My lab will be up and running by end of the year. And then they promised to buy my patent.
That might take years, Isabel. Don't hold your breath.
No, they promised months.
Months? Months? What, did you sleep with someone?
Isabel shoots visible daggers, looking around.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Of course I didn't mean that. No, I didn't mean that. Unless something or someone is pushing it through for a reason, there's no way it's happening that soon.
Okay, excuse me?
A chemical company suddenly funds non-chemical R&D by a recent non-tenured professor from a California State Agricultural University? Come on.
Isabel lets this sink in.
Then why hire me?
Dr. Murphy adjusts his African caftan and man bun, bursting with graying red hair.
You're brilliant, ambitious, and, I hate to say, of Hispanic descent. You feed their need for optics. They obviously feed your pride.
Exterior UC Davis, agronomy field, parking lot, afternoon. They shake hands next to Isabel's BMW.
It suits you.
Thank you, Big Ag.
Just be careful. Big Ag takes Takes care of Big Ag first and foremost.
I'm earning their respect, slowly but surely.
Glad to hear it.
She shrugs uncomfortably.
Science is everything to me, you know that. I'll prove to them they've made the right choice.
Look, I know you'd rather be in a lab than anywhere else, but I wonder sometimes if you're trying to control everything a little too much. At some point, you stop trusting the natural order of things.
Isabel settles into the driver's seat, avoiding eye contact. Interior, Isabel's car, same. Dr. Murphy leans through her window.
Science is only part of nature, and nature, eventually, always wins.
Not if I can help it.
Exterior Castilla family home, establishing shot day. A modest but pristine mid-century home with a manicured lawn. Exterior Isabel's apartment building night. The upscale complex at the edge of town casts an expensive glow over the quiet street. Interior Isabel's apartment kitchen night. Isabel closes her laptop. She places her teacup in the sink and catches her reflection in the window. Is she lonely or just tired? She touches a photo of a young Isabel, 12, looking up at her grandfather, Lolo Jose, 60s. They wear work clothes, cowboy hats, and boots. Exterior Ag Corps headquarters morning. Isabel enters the massive entrance with other colleagues. Interior Ag Corps headquarters hallway moments later. Isabel passes various corporate posters extolling the virtues of Ag Corps' mission, nourishing children since 1948. Drought, disease, that's so 20th century. Ag Corps, where farmers are the top of the food chain. Interior Ag Corps headquarters, R&D hallway moments later. Isabel swipes her key card through a card reader and the door swings open. Interior Ag Corps headquarters, R&D lab, continuous. Lab technicians work at various lab stations. No one acknowledges Isabel. She sets her bags on her desk, changes into a lab coat, and work clogs. She opens a drawer to get a hair clip and sees a handwritten note. Build the wall. She looks around, but everyone is busy. Rattled, she shuts the drawer, pulls her hair back with the clip, and gets to work. Interior Ag Corps headquarters, Haughton's office, afternoon. Haughton hears a tap on the door.
Come.
Isabel enters to see Haughton, Jones, and Lassiter poring over reports.
Isabel, come in.
They all stand. Isabel puts the note out of her pocket and places it in front of Haughton.
Where'd you get this?
In my desk drawer.
Lassiter peeks over to read the note. He chuckles.
Now, darling, don't take silly notes like this personally. Someone is just letting off a little steam is all.
He carefully folds it into his pocket and pats it reassuringly.
Isabel, if you have any idea who might have written this, please let me know.
How long until my lab is finished?
Haughton shrugs, and they both look at Lassiter. His purposefully blank look irks Isabel.
Sir?
Lassiter sits back down, folding his hands behind his head.
Funny, I was going to chat with you about that.
He nods to Jones, who also sits.
We won't make absolutely sure you understand what I meant about loyalty.
Isabel's eyes narrow with suspicion, but she takes the seat Jones pulls out for her. Haughton leans forward.
Dr. Castilla, we've found a potential partner for the SBA project. Due to the short time frame with upcoming board meeting, we need to send a liaison immediately.
What does that have to do with me?
Unfortunately, this particular entity does not agree among themselves about whether to join the Ag Corps family.
Isabel and Haughton both shrug, not seeing a connection.
We think this prospective entity requires persuasion of a particular kind.
You know Ag Corps, and we understand you know farming. One might say you speak both languages.
You want me to negotiate?
Precisely.
I don't do farms.
She faces agitated.
Which is why you are the perfect candidate for this mission. They want to join our 21st century of farming. You'll understand where they are now and where they go with our help.
What about the lab?
Lassiter waves him off.
You help us, we'll help you.
Isabel stands defiant.
I was not hired for this. I'm sure you've got the perfect person lounging around here somewhere.
But we've decided you are the perfect person for this task.
Isabel picks up her bag and jacket. Lassiter leans forward.
Loyalty, darling. When I say jump,
Lassiter addresses both Haughton and Isabel.
we need confirmation you know your place in this institution.
Haughton stands up so violently his chair topples against the credenza. Lassiter continues unaffected.
That lab of yours isn't the cash cow we hoped for. Board is nervous about stepping out of a time-honored business model to fund something so risky. If you lasso this lucrative partnership, I'll recommend that your little experiment gets extra special support. We'll take a look at that patent of yours, too.
Haughton looks at Isabel. She glares back.
We want a full briefing on this place before she goes anywhere.
Done.
Haughton sits down and rubs his temples. Lassiter sidles around the desk and pats Houghton's shoulder.
Oh, now, David, you boys know to obey orders now, don't you? You mind us and you keep your job.
Lassiter and Jones leave. Haughton holds his hands up in surrender as Isabel slumps against the window, staring out at the test fields below. Interior Ag Corps headquarters, hallway, moments later. Lassiter tosses the note from Isabel into a nearby trash can. Exterior Castilla family home. Establishing shot, evening. Isabel's car is parked outside a respectable mid-century home. Interior Castilla family home. Dining room later. Isabel finishes dinner with her family. Isabel's father, Roberto, 60s, has the gentle self-confident success brings to those who overcome hardship.
Isabel, this is the opportunity to show them you can hit any pitch they throw at you.
I have 3 projects in sensitive stages. No one else can do what I do.
That's your fault, then. What good is that brain if you keep it to yourself?
The last place I should be is on a farm.
Roberto and his mother, Leila Maria, 80, exchange glances.
I can't help anyone there.
Maybe that is the exact place you should be. You might even learn something from them.
Isabel scoffs.
What would I possibly learn from them?
Only the fool knows everything.
She grasps Isabel's arm for help out of her chair.
Come.
Interior Castilla family home, Leila Maria's room, night. Leila Maria sits on the window seat. Photos and old portraits cover the walls. The same photo in Isabel's kitchen is next to Leila Maria's bed. Leila Maria taps her cane under the bed. Their conversation is in Spanish.
For you.
Isabel pulls out a box of colorful and elaborately tooled Sandra cowboy boots. They are used but in excellent condition, as is their original box.
These are Lolo's. I don't understand.
He was tall like you. When you wear these, everything will be fine.
Isabel inspects the workmanship thoughtfully. Quick flash, exterior Mexican farmland, crop rows day. A worried young Isabel, 14, inspects corn stalks with Lolo Jose. There are rows and rows of diseased and dying corn. Interior Castilla family home, Leila Maria's room, night. Isabel closes the box and kisses her grandmother.
I will take good care of them.
She leaves with the box. Interior Isabel's apartment, bedroom, night. Isabel shuffles stacks of papers on her bed, but she can't concentrate. She unfolds a large map with Whitewater Ranch circled in red, then glances at the open sender box across the room. Exterior Isabel's car, early morning. Isabel traces the design on the boots and places the photo in with the boots. She closes the box, then shuts the trunk. Interior Isabel's car, same. She tucks the map under her purse for easy reach. Exterior Isabel's car, same. Her car turns out of the apartment complex onto the street. Exterior Isabel's car, moments later. A highway sign showing Reno, Nevada, 147 miles, Salina, Utah, 542 miles. Her car speeds down the highway, leaving Davis, California. Begin montage Isabel's road trip. Isabel checks her phone at a remote gas station. No signal on her phone. While driving, Isabel's water bottle spills. She shakes water off the map, but it flies out the sunroof. Isabel tries to buy a map at a rundown gas station, but the cashier, 40s, points to an empty map rack. The latest version had been 2009. Sign at the Utah border, welcome to Utah, life elevated. Isabel's car veers south onto Freeway I-70. End montage. Exterior Freeway I-70, Isabel's car, late afternoon. Her car exits an off-ramp. The highway sign announces exit 193, ranch exit, no services. Interior Isabel's car, dirt road, late afternoon. Isabel looks at her phone, but yet again has no signal. A nasty storm is brewing. A sign hanging overhead is blown up and over the frame it hangs from. Isabel drives under the wooden structure completely clueless. The road is treacherous.
This is ridiculous.
Tired and annoyed, she starts to turn the car around. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, dirt road, same. A dented and dusty 1982 Chevy pickup approaches. Interior Marcus's car, dirt road, same. Marcus Fitzsimmons, 30s, hums along to the blaring radio. He drives his truck through the empty field adjacent to the road, avoiding all the potholes. Marcus is as dusty as his truck, sunburned and squinting underneath his battered baseball cap. He is crazy handsome, but not one to waste time in front of mirrors. He slows down to inspect Isabel's car, currently sideways on the narrow road. He hand cranks the passenger window down.
Can I help you?
Interior Isabel's car, dirt road, same.
I think I'm lost.
Interior Marcus's car, dirt road, same.
Damn straight you're lost.
Exterior Marcus's car, dirt road, same. He gets out of his truck and surveys the BMW. He notices her California license plate, GMO Diva. He scoffs to himself. Exterior Isabel's car, dirt road, same. Marcus stands in front of her open driver's window.
Not only are you in the wrong state, you're on the wrong planet. Didn't you see the no services sign?
Isabel is surprised at this cold reception. She blinks away the dust blowing into the car.
You got a map?
It blew away.
Interior Isabel's car, dirt road, same. Marcus leans into her open window, surveying her closely.
You can weather this storm at Golden Spur Motel in Green River. Ask for Emmeline. Tell her Marcus at Whitewater says, hey.
Isabel is surprised to hear Whitewater.
Whitewater. I found it.
It's Marcus's turn to be surprised. Then he gets suspicious.
Who are you?
I'm supposed to meet Catherine?
She looks through the binder for Catherine's last name.
Dubé.
He notices the Agcor logo on the binder.
We're not expecting visitors. Now go on. Get.
Exterior Isabel's car, same. He steps away from the car. Isabel changes her tactic, digging deep for some sweet tea charm.
I couldn't connect with her ahead of time, but she's expecting me.
No, ma'am. You head on back to Smogville. Oh, and be sure you don't stop in the middle of the highway if you can't see through the storm. Those trucks will drive right over you and keep going.
Exterior Isabel's car, same. He slaps the back of her BMW as if it were a horse.
Safe travels, city mouse.
Interior Isabel's car, same. She flicks her charm switch off. She peels out, deliberately spraying dust all over him.
Redneck bastard.
Interior Isabel's car, private road later. She struggles to see through the storm. Her car bounces hard through a deep pothole. Thunder rattles the car and lightning flashes nearby. Isabel stops the car to collect her nerves. Huge raindrops pellet sideways like machine gun fire. Another clap of thunder trips the car alarm. Interior Whitewater Ranch bunkhouse, same. Marcus sips a beer while reading a newspaper. The kitchen shows remnants of quite a decent homemade meal. He hears the car alarm, but can't place the sound among the storm noises. Realizing what it is, he rolls his eyes.
Jesus.
He continues reading. Thunder and lightning crash overhead as the cabin lights flicker. He reluctantly folds the newspaper and reaches for his keys. Interior Isabel's car, private road, night. Isabel still huddles under her coat. A loud knock on the window sends her into a frenzy. Marcus wipes off the window so she can see him.
Oh my God!
Open up.
Go away!
She tries to lock the door, but he opens it first.
Come on.
Exterior Isabel's car, same. He basically drags her out of the car. She ends up sprinting to his truck. Interior Marcus's car, private road, same. Once inside, Isabel primps in the visor mirror. Marcus opens the driver door.
Like that's gonna help.
Isabel glares at him. Marcus smirks and drives on. Exterior Whitewater Ranch bunkhouse later. Marcus opens the front door and returns to relieve Isabel of most of her bags.
Bathroom's past the kitchen.
Marcus reaches for the Sendra boot box with curiosity.
I got this.
She grabs the boot box. Interior Whitewater Ranch bunkhouse, kitchen later. Isabel emerges after a shower wearing clean clothes. Marcus notices her marked improvement but doesn't comment. He hands her a plate of dinner. She is impressed by the food but doesn't comment.
Thanks.
Bedroom's first door on the left.
He scoops up his keys.
Where are you?
The barn.
The barn.
Don't worry about me, City Mouse.
Isabel rolls her eyes as he leaves abruptly. She takes a bite. It's fantastic. She notices his Wall Street Journal.
You're kidding.
Interior Whitewater Ranch bunkhouse morning. Isabel pours herself coffee. She has a second cup set out, plus extra breakfast. Marcus enters the front door with his own cup of coffee.
Already ate.
Warm cow's milk?
He shakes the car keys at her.
Let's get you on your way.
Exterior Whitewater Ranch, private road, mid-morning. Isabel's car is half submerged in mud.
I'll have to tow it out.
She checks her phone. No signal. WTF.
Is there a landline?
He hesitates but eventually answers.
At the big house?
She looks in every direction. Nothing but land and sky. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, big house, late morning. Marcus's truck pulls through a circular driveway to a stately, well-preserved 19th century mansion. The front lawn buzzes with ranch staff planting and tidying from the storm.
Wow.
Yep.
Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house, foyer, moments later. Missy, 30s, opens the door. Her dark hair is pulled tightly into an austere bun, making her look a decade older than she is. Her eyes brighten at seeing Marcus.
Marcus, good morning.
He removes his cap.
Missy, you're a sight for sore eyes.
Missy titters. Isabel is taken by his genuine smile as he kisses Missy on the cheek.
Missy, this is...
He cocks his head sideways, waiting for Isabel to answer.
Dr. Isabel Castilla. Hello.
He coughs with surprise but quickly recovers.
Oh, God.
Welcome to Whitewater, Dr. Isabel. Mind the mess.
She just needs the phone.
Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house, hallway, moments later. Missy guides Isabel to a rotary phone on a sideboard. Isabel stares at it while Marcus watches, amused.
Works brilliantly, but you'll need to call collect since we've just got the basic service.
Isabel hesitates. Missy dials the initial numbers, then hands the receiver to Isabel.
Just add the necessaries from this point.
Thank you. I won't be long.
Missy exits into one of the side rooms. Isabel uncharacteristically fumbles and turns away from Marcus, who bites his lip to stifle a laugh.
I'll prepare your car, Professor.
He bows on his way out. Intercut between Haughton and Isabel on the phone.
Close the deal yet?
I just got here. It's in the middle of a time warp. This phone has a cord, for Christ's sake.
Have you met the key stakeholder?
The cowgirl in charge? I can't get past the junkyard dog.
Interior Ag Corps headquarters, Houghton's office, same. Jones has been listening on Houghton's speakerphone. He finally pipes in.
Work your magic, or you'll be teaching biology at East LA High School.
Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house hallway, late morning. Isabel hangs up, feeling the weight of her new reality. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, big house, moments later. Isabel thanks Missy and walks down the porch stairs through the circular driveway. No Marcus in sight, so she keeps walking, following fresh tire tracks. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, private road, same. Isabel weaves around the potholes full of storm water and tries to avoid sinking into the deep ruts. Her designer athletic shoes are caked with mud.
Who the hell are you?
She whirls around to see an older version of the Marlboro Man leaning over from his horse's saddle. This is Carl Fitzsimmons, 60s. Youthful laugh lines around his ice blue eyes are overshadowed by a deep scowl etched below his mustache. He cradles a .22 Magnum rifle under his arm.
I said, who the hell are you?
I'm Dr. Isabel Castilla.
Who's sick?
Sick?
Somebody called a doctor?
Not that kind of doctor. I'm a scientist.
Well, la-dee-da. Why are you here?
Instinct tells her not to cross a man cradling a rifle. She squares herself and answers the question directly.
I'm looking for Catherine Dubé.
Fitz considers this new information carefully.
Why?
Isabel begins to explain as a rider gallops toward them. Fitz grows visibly annoyed.
Looks like you can tell her yourself.
Cathy, 50s, slows her Arabian to a trot. Even on a workhorse in the middle of a dirt road, Cathy is the kind of woman to offer a trespasser gracious civility.
We starting a university I didn't know about?
Cathy ignores Fitz as she dismounts. She shakes Isabel's hand while Fitz continues to watch from his saddle.
Catherine?
Cathy, please. What can I do for you?
I'm from Ag Corps. I tried to contact you ahead of time.
Cathy looks pointedly at Fitz.
We're a hard bunch to track down.
He proudly touches the brim of his hat with the muzzle of his gun that spits into the mud.
Ag Corp. God damn.
He rides off with a huff.
We have lots to discuss.
She looks around.
How'd you get here?
Marcus is pulling my car out of your road somewhere.
Isabel waves in the general direction of the sky.
I was wondering whose that was. Come.
Cathy offers a leg up, but Isabel swings easily onto the horse, sitting behind Cathy's saddle. Cathy is impressed.
Well, all right then.
They gallop back toward Big House. Interior Whitewater Ranch, Big House Library later. Cathy sits at her desk scanning Isabel's binder. Isabel sits opposite.
I'm eager to learn more about this opportunity. I gotta say, it won't be easy convincing the guys.
The guys?
Fitz and Marcus, the other owners.
Isabel snorts with disbelief.
Believe it or not, there is more than hair under those hats.
Look, I'm on a very short time frame. Can you and I just get this done? I'm guessing you're the brains of this outfit.
I appreciate that, but legally we must agree on everything.
Frustrated, Isabel looks around the room. Her eyes fall on a photo of Cathy and Ben, 60s, her late husband, posing in front of the Eiffel Tower.
That's my late husband Ben, Fitz's brother and best friend. Damn if those boys weren't joined at the hip. They were lockstep in the management of this place too, but now that Ben's gone, I need real financial security going into my golden years.
Do you travel much?
That's the only time I've been outside my zip code. When I make some real money, I'll go back in a heartbeat.
Happy to help with that goal so we can both get out of here for good.
Nothing will please me more.
Cathy nods to the activity inside and outside the house.
The party tonight kicks off our annual event, which lasts through the weekend. I'll mention your time frame to Fitz and try to push things along for Monday.
Monday. All right. Thank you.
A staff member, 40s, enters with a massive floral bouquet.
Sorry to intrude, madame.
Oh, no, it's fine. We're done here.
She ushers Isabel out to let the staff finish their job.
Where are your things?
The bunkhouse?
Isabel answers Cathy's question before she can ask it.
Marcus slept in the barn, so he said.
No surprise there. Listen, I'd like you to be my guest here at Big House. Marcus can bring your bags up, and Missy will make sure you're settled in.
She rings for Missy, who appears immediately.
Yes, Mom.
She pronounces it more like Mom. Cathy raises her eyebrows in a silent rebuke. Missy changes her pronunciation.
Ma'am?
Cathy shakes her head with annoyance.
She's obsessed with England. Tries to talk with that ridiculous accent. Enough with the Jane Austen.
Cathy points up the stairs.
Isabel will stay in the south bedroom.
Missy curtsies and runs upstairs. Cathy turns back to Isabel with a sudden thought and her previous charm.
Please join our little party tonight. There's someone I'd like you to meet.
Interior Whitewater Ranch, Big House, front room, night. Guests roam with cocktails and appetizers. We hear a piano playing jazz standards from one of the rooms. Interior Whitewater Ranch, Big House, library, night. Isabel appears in a black cocktail dress and stilettos. She marvels at the book collections in French, Latin, and Spanish. Masterworks range from Socrates to Shakespeare. Interior Whitewater Ranch, Big House, front room, night. Cathy approaches Isabel, who sips a drink.
Dr. Castilla, you put on quite a show.
Not sure why I packed it. I fear it's a bit much.
Nonsense. We could use a little glamour around here.
Cathy waves over Will Cumberland, 30s, who's been playing cards with his father, Billy Cumberland, 50s, and Billy's cronies. Billy laughs so hard at his friend's joke he hacks into his handkerchief. Will looks like he just walked out of a trendy bar in Silicon Valley. His casual swagger immediately catches Isabel's attention.
Miss Catherine, I do believe this party just got a whole lot better.
Will, this is Isabel Castilla, Ph.D. She's a scientist at AgCorp. Isabel, this is Will Cumberland, only son of our dear friend and neighbor.
Cathy manages a thin smile at Billy across the room. Billy bows dramatically, adjusting his belt over his hard-earned belly. Cathy blatantly rolls her eyes.
Dr. Castile, your servant.
She smiles as he kisses her hand.
Mr. Cumberland, a pleasure.
Actually, it's Dr. Cumberland.
Interior Whitewater Ranch, Big House, foyer, moments later. Isabel and Will fall easily into conversation.
When did you partner with AgCorp?
After my postdoc, so Dad could enjoy some financial security. That's how Cathy got interested. She saw our luck improve.
Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house, front room, night. Isabel and Will settle on the window seat. Isabel flags down a server 50s for drinks.
It's been over 5 years now. Yields are fantastic. A good 10 bushels more per acre. Just like we were promised.
That's wonderful.
Billy and friends are quickly sliding from silly to sloppy. Cathy glares at Billy and he sulks like a guilty child.
She's pretty short-fused with him sometimes. You'd think they were married.
Cathy suddenly switches back to charming hostess with nearby guests.
Isabel, this shindig goes all weekend. You'll have lots of downtime. Could I interest you in a tour of our humble operation?
I'd love that.
He smiles and clinks glasses with her. Isabel listens to the piano music. Will tries to distract her.
Do you play cards?
Never. Come on.
She pulls him through the crowd. He winces but joins her. Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house library moments later. She moves closer to hear the music and is amazed to see Marcus playing the piano. He finishes the song and graciously accepts the applause. He stiffens when he sees her and Will.
That was impressive.
He noodles with a random melody. Will slinks behind Isabel.
You're surprised?
Yes, actually. I mean, how many ranch hands play the piano?
He stops playing when Will laughs a little too loud. Marcus looks directly at Isabel.
And how many ranch hands do you know, Dr. Castilla?
Actually, I've known quite a...
Marcus plays a section from Aaron Copland's Appalachian Spring, made famous by the beef commercials. He ends with a flourish and straightens his tuxedo as guests applaud. Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house library moments later. Isabel takes Will's empty glass.
I'll fetch you tomorrow afternoon.
She waves as Will gently escorts bumbling Billy out. Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house library, same. Marcus scowls as he watches Isabel and Will. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, barnyard morning. Logos on RVs, horse trailers, and fifth-wheeler trailers confirm Whitewater Ranch customer types. Sage Champion Thoroughbreds, an ultimate feed. Tavish Lifetime grazed cattle. Houston's Heirlooms heifers, organic and grass-fed. The cluster of vehicles create a makeshift luxury campground. Interior Whitewater Ranch barn morning. Cathy leads Isabel through the massive front doors. They cross the large foyer complete with chandeliers made of crystal, antlers, and leather. Interior Whitewater Ranch barn hallway moments later. Cathy and Isabel pass numerous doors on either side.
So this is where Marcus slept the other night.
He'll hunker down here now and again, depending on his schedule.
Cathy opens the door into a stately bedroom with a fireplace and spa-like bathroom. Interior Whitewater Ranch barn bedroom same. The French doors open onto an expansive lawn with a patio that hugs one side of a pond. Guests move through a breakfast buffet on the patio. Isabel is speechless.
You thought he was being chivalrous.
Exterior Whitewater Ranch, greenhouse, afternoon. The expansive space is set up for a presentation with 50 chairs, a screen, projector, and podium. Cathy excuses herself to welcome customers.
Make yourself comfy. We'll start soon.
Isabel wanders around inspecting plants. She notices a room behind glass doors on the far end of the greenhouse. Interior Whitewater Ranch, barn, lab, same. She slips into the immaculate room. She marvels at the high-end equipment. Rows of seedlings are in various stages of growth. Next to a laptop and printer, we see a rolling whiteboard full of countless rows of data and calculations.
Incredible.
Thank you.
He watches from the door.
Right. Like this is yours.
Right, like that would be impossible.
He gathers folding chairs from his storage closet and exits quickly. Interior Whitewater Ranch, barn, greenhouse, moments later. Isabel sees Fitz and Cathy in the back corner. Fitz retains stern composure, but Cathy hisses like a firecracker's fuse.
Do not announce a price increase. You agreed to wait.
But we're giving away the farm. We haven't had a price hike in years.
When Marcus is ready, we'll do it. Till then, we stay the course.
Cathy whispers with venom.
I'll die penniless at this rate.
Fitz leans into her face.
Ben left you plenty of money. Don't jeopardize our operation to satiate your greed.
Marcus calmly breaks up their quarrel. This is not the first time he's seen them at each other's throats.
Hold it together, you two. It's time.
Interior Whitewater Ranch, barn, greenhouse, afternoon. Cathy composes herself as she walks to the front, waving and smiling like the small-town rodeo princess she once was.
Welcome, everyone, to our annual showcase. It's wonderful to have you here again.
Applause and friendly outbursts float back to Cathy. She cheerfully reins them back in.
We'll have plenty of time for socializing later, but let's get to the business side of things.
She clicks through the slides with her remote. Varieties of alfalfa, corn, oats, plus photos of grazing cattle.
As you know, the weather the last few years has been challenging. Thanks to Marcus, we've improved hardiness, but we're still not quite to yields from the mid-2000s. Marcus, can you give us a high-level update?
Marcus accepts the remote from Cathy.
Afternoon. As my aunt said, we're finally coming out of austere measures from years of drought. The crops are doing well and the cattle are thriving.
He advances to a slide showing an aerial view of livestock grazing in various grassy meadows.
Our success is, of course, thanks to your continued support and loyalty.
He flashes a dazzling smile.
This year we planted the latest heirloom varieties.
Marcus clicks through more slides.
After testing numerous strains, I think we found some winners. For those of you who want the science behind all this, I'll be available for Selective Reading 101 during happy hour.
A few chuckles, Cathy returns to the front.
Remember, if things continue to go well, watch out for next year's price hike.
Murmurs. Fitz storms out and lets the back door slam hard behind him. Cathy keeps the mood light.
It's obviously beer 30 for Fitz. Thanks, everyone. Remember your order packets. We remain available for any questions.
Exterior Whitewater Ranch barn patio afternoon. Guests mill around food tables and cocktail bars. Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house, Isabel's room, same. Missy peeks around the corner as Isabel types on her laptop.
You getting some work done, Dr. Isabel?
Still trying to find a signal.
Oh, is the Wi-Fi not working?
She pronounces it Wi-Fi.
You have wireless?
Oh, yes. Marcus would never get anything done without it. Here's the password.
Missy scribbles the information on a notepad. Isabel shakes her head with slight annoyance.
But the phone downstairs. I thought that was the only...
We keep the landline for when storms cut everything off. We're actually pretty high-tech around here.
Missy beams proudly. Suddenly, Cathy bursts into the room.
Missy, I've been looking all over for you. Go tend to the guests. I hope she hasn't been bothering you.
Of course not.
Missy glares at Cathy, then leaves. Isabel calls after her.
Missy, you were a huge help.
Will appears in the doorway to Isabel's surprise.
Dr. Cumberland.
He slides over and takes her hand.
Madam, I remain your servant.
Isabel smiles and Cathy winks mischievously.
I'll leave you two to save the world. Have fun.
Cathy leaves.
Got the king cab out front.
Exterior Whitewater Ranch, big house driveway, afternoon. Isabel and Will leave together. Exterior Whitewater Ranch barnyard, same. Marcus chats with customers but scowls as he sees them leave. Exterior CU Lazy Farm, late afternoon. Will's truck drives up the gravel road to a modest farmhouse, a garden, barn, and bunkhouse fan out behind the house. Exterior CU Lazy Farm, bunkhouse moments later. Children play in the yard while tired adult farm workers walk back from the barn. A farm worker 40s doubles over with an intense coughing fit and then spits in the dust.
Is he okay?
What do you mean?
He's a mess.
The farm worker lumbers into the bunkhouse.
He's coughing. The doctor said they all probably contracted a virus or have allergies or something.
How long has he been like that?
I have no idea.
His pace quickens. Isabel trots to keep up. Will keeps walking, enjoying the evening breeze.
Wait, all?
Will shakes his head, not understanding.
You said the doctor said they all contracted a virus. How many others are sick?
Isabel looks back at the bunkhouse, now barely visible. Will looks at her with none of his earlier tenderness.
The doctor said it just has to run its course.
Long shadows darken the gravel road. Crickets are almost deafening. His tone suddenly softens as he moves towards her.
We should get back. Why?
Isabel smiles but looks at the bunkhouse curiously while following Will toward the house. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, big house, front porch, night. Isabel bounces up the steps.
Lovely evening.
Isabel jumps. He lounges on the porch swing with a beer.
You're too skittish.
She ignores him and opens the front door.
Be careful with him.
Excuse me?
Dr. Cumberland.
You're just jealous because he's made something of his life and you're stuck with his backwater ranch.
Marcus empties the Budweiser long neck onto a nearby rose bush. He walks up to Isabel and stares deep into her eyes. He slowly moves around her and goes inside. Isabel exhales, just now realizing she's been holding her breath. Interior, Whitewater, Isabel's room, night. Isabel Skypes with Haughton. He's still at the office. Intercut Skype conversation.
It's the worst time to be here. I can't do anything until Monday.
Isabel, you have to get it done.
I will. How's everything there?
He looks up from the screen and then quickly back at Isabel.
Great. Just plugging along. Okay. So contact me as soon as you can so I can relay the good news. Gotta go. Good luck.
He ends the session abruptly. Isabel sits back, annoyed.
Bye.
Interior Ag Corps headquarters, Houghton's office, same. Houghton sits back in his chair staring at his blank screen.
She's on it.
Lassiter and Jones stand opposite Houghton's desk. Exterior, CU Lazy Farm, front porch, late morning. Isabel wears jeans, flannel shirt, and her designer sneakers. She knocks on the weather-beaten screen door. Billy opens the door wearing an apron over his work clothes.
Why, Dr. Isabel, come on in. What can I do for you?
Interior, CU Lazy Farm, kitchen moments later. Billy pours coffee for Isabel. She nods at his apron.
Looks good on you.
Oh, this old thing. Didn't want to get bacon grease on my Sunday best.
He twirls around, showing off his grubby work pants and shirt.
To what do I owe this pleasure, dear?
Exterior, CU Lazy Farm, barn, noon. Mina, 30s, a pale Hispanic woman, fills sprayer from a hose attached to a giant plastic tank full of yellow liquid. The tank looms menacingly over them in an elegant timber-framed barn, like a plastic milk jug in a china cabinet.
Mina, this is a friend of mine who would like to ask you some questions.
Interior, CU Lazy Farm, bunkhouse number 2, moments later. Isabel records on her phone. They speak in Spanish.
2 years ago, I was strong. Now I can only work a couple hours a day.
Mina suddenly doubles over coughing. It takes a few moments to recover. She scratches her hands and neck while talking.
My skin hurts, but it's not from sunburns.
More violent coughing. She spills liquid from the hose all over her hands and forearms that already show a rash. Mina leans back in her chair, exhausted. Isabel stands up.
Thank you very much for your time.
Mina waves and smiles weakly. Isabel and Billy leave. Exterior, CU Lazy Farm, barnyard, afternoon. Isabel watches a dozen workers return from the fields. Half of them have similar rashes like Mina's. They all have sprayers strapped to their backs. Billy wipes his face with his handkerchief. His voice is raspy and his breath labored.
I'm parched. Let's wet our whistle, shall we?
Interior, CU Lazy Farm, kitchen, moments later. Billy pours 2 iced teas, then adds a bit of whiskey in each. Will slams through the back door, dripping with shopping bags. His smile has a tint of annoyance.
Having a tea party, are we?
He puts groceries away a little too deliberately.
I came to see you, but enjoyed the afternoon with your father instead.
Billy pats her hand.
It's been ages since a pretty girl knocked on my door.
Will stops to look at Isabel curiously.
So why'd you come back?
I couldn't stop thinking about your workers. Thought maybe I could help.
Will rubs the back of his neck nervously.
I can take care of my own workers.
Of course you can. I didn't mean to infer otherwise.
They're doing it to themselves, you know. I've yelled at more than a few of them to stop smoking.
Billy cuts the attention with a chuckle.
It's a bad habit, true enough. I quit 20 years ago and I'm paying for it now. Probably be the death of me.
His chuckle turns into a gravelly cough. He wipes his mouth with the handkerchief he keeps in his pocket.
Well, I'd better get. That newfangled weed killer doesn't spray itself.
He tips his hat to Isabel before putting it on.
Lovely to see you, my dear.
Billy shuffles out to the back porch and straps on the sprayer before heading toward the fields. Exterior, CU Lazy Farm, driveway, late afternoon. Will walks Isabel to her car.
Will, I didn't mean to offend you.
I know. Sorry, I got a little testy.
He smiles and takes Isabel's hand.
Not used to having such a whip-smart lady around.
Isabel blushes.
It's in my nature. I'm curious. I mean, being a scientist too, we're always asking questions. It's what we do.
Will squints up into the sun before changing the subject.
Can I see you tomorrow?
Of course. I can't do anything at Whitewater until Monday.
How Cathy puts up with those idiot wranglers. Give her my best, okay?
He waves as she drives away. Exterior Whitewater Ranch barn lab morning. Isabel works on her laptop. Marcus enters and immediately scowls.
What the hell are you doing in here?
He flips the whiteboard over to the blank side to hide a slurry of calculations.
Have you heard about Will's sick workers?
Marcus shrugs.
It's the chemicals, no doubt.
AgCor's got a library of studies by experts proving 100 times over that products are harmless.
Studies paid for by AgCor. Will's medical doctor is also paid by AgCor. Drives out here from the city to tell them they're fine.
Marcus fiddles with trays of seedlings on the counter.
No.
Marcus chooses a tray and balances it with one hand.
All of C.U. Lacey's trouble started after they joined AgCor. It doesn't take a scientist to put two and two together. Don't waste too many brain cells on it, City Mouse. Will takes care of Will first and foremost. I'd be shocked if he helps his crew in the long run, especially if it puts his precious profits in jeopardy.
He lets the door slam behind him. Interior Whitewater Ranch, barn, greenhouse, same. From the lab window, Isabel watches Marcus show the seedlings to customers. He laughs and chats easily. She also notices Fitz talking to a tall, lanky woman in jodhpurs and a starched white shirt. They leave together. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, corral, noon. Isabel follows them. Fitz shows the woman, Sandra Sage, 60, a young Morgan horse. Wherever Sandra is, her 5 Derby wins enter the room before she does.
He's a feisty son of a bitch, but I'll get him sorted out soon enough.
Takes one to know one. If anyone can break an SOB, it's you, Colonel Fitzsimmons.
Isabel leans over the fence a few feet away from them.
He's beautiful.
Fitz glowers down at her. Sandra looks her up and down.
Have we met?
No, I'm Isabel.
Dr. Castilla dropped in last week, unannounced, from AgCor.
Fitz raises his eyebrows dramatically. Whatever Sandra expected Fitz to say, this was not it.
Well, Isabel, you are a long way from home, in many respects. Sandra Sage.
Sandra shakes Isabel's hand. It's not an accident that Sandra positions herself so Isabel faces into the sun. Isabel awkwardly squints and shades her eyes with her arm.
Race horses mostly, although I have diversified into high-quality feed. Can't be too careful with what we put into those precious bodies, can we, Isabel?
Sandra pats Fitz on the arm.
Come find me later. I want to lock down my alfalfa price before I leave tomorrow.
She turns back after a couple steps.
And no, I do not want to discuss it with Catherine.
Fitz and Isabel watch her glide away like a runway model.
She's about as high-bred as they come. Crackerjack breeder and ruthless businesswoman to boot. She was my wife's best friend.
Fitz smiles with admiration, then changes his tone.
Come out to argue your case with me, or what?
Exterior Whitewater Ranch, barnyard, afternoon. Fitz hands Isabel a bucket as they walk up a gravel road.
I would like to hear your objections so I can offer AgCor solutions.
Solutions? Our family's been farming 4 generations back. We'll keep going long after the AgCors of the world destroy themselves with their goddamn chemicals. You have no solutions I want or need, Professor.
Isabel takes a deep breath and keeps stride with Fitz. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, meadow, moments later. They approach an elaborate chicken coop, 2 levels on tractor wheels, the size of a small Airstream trailer. Isabel tries to make conversation.
Every summer, I worked on my grandparents' farm in central Mexico. By 7th grade, I was such a smartass telling my grandfather how to crossbreed his corn. Every year, I promised to make the seeds better than the previous year.
Did he let you? Mess with his plans?
As Isabel talks, Fitz pulls the coop to a new location a few yards away, revealing a patch of new grass that had been growing underneath the coop. Other patches of grass grow nearby where the coop had previously been positioned.
He did, actually. I taught him everything I learned, and our crops were amazing for a few years.
They sprinkle feed into troughs attached to the lower exterior of the coop. Chickens jockey for space to eat.
But one summer of relentless rain and flooding changed everything. The next few years were drought. After 5 years fighting Mother Nature and poor yields, my grandfather lost the farm.
Fitz nods with understanding.
It was my fault. I couldn't save it, or him in the long run. He was a broken man when he died in our family home in Davis.
Fitz opens a portion of the fence to let the cattle rush in to savor the new grass.
That's when I decided science was the only way to make plants as hardy as possible, to really help farmers.
Isabel helps Fitz move the modular fencing around this new patch, leaving the previous grazing area to regenerate.
So how'd you end up a mad scientist at Poison Central?
Isabel shakes off the insult good-naturedly.
Before I was a junior in high school, I had full ride scholarships to a dozen universities. I chose the one who was willing to fund my research into the unforeseen future. You never know how long it'll take to find a solution. AgCorp took a chance by funding my graduate work.
Exterior Whitewater Ranch, Farm Road, moments later. They continue up the gravel road with crops on either side.
Thanks to my boss and former professor, AgCorp eventually agreed to start a completely new division based on my work. They're taking yet another chance on me, and for that I'm very grateful. It will be worth their while, I know it.
Fitz stops to look at her.
Could we be buying your products?
She is surprised at the question.
No, actually, my seeds won't be commercially ready for a few years.
Fitz shakes his head, walking away.
Not a good answer, Professor.
As she follows him, she notices the rolling hills bursting with various shades of greens and golds, vibrant in the afternoon sun. Isabel smiles at the view. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, crop rows, late afternoon. Isabel inspects the plants. Fitz follows.
These are amazing.
Of course they are.
In an open area, she sees solar-powered towers stationed every other acre. Almost on cue, sprinklers burst alive.
So the timers...
Totally off the electric grid. And he has the sensors kick in when it rains to stop unnecessary irrigation.
He smiles to himself, watching her absorb the setup.
Wait, he?
Marcus.
She scoffs.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
Exterior Whitewater Ranch, crop fields, late afternoon. Isabel and Fitz walk back down the road toward the barn. Marcus approaches on a workhorse, leading a second horse with saddlebags full of unseen content.
I guess they're looking for you. Were you on a picnic or something?
Somebody's got to give her a proper tour of the place. You want a pleasure ride or something?
Marcus nods to the saddlebags on the second horse.
They came.
Well, let's fire 'em up.
Marcus guides the horses to a nearby outbuilding. Fitz and Isabel follow. Interior Whitewater Ranch, outbuilding moments later. Inside the tidy space, Marcus unloads two new drones onto a work table. Older models are plugged into outlets on a counter underneath a row of windows. Isabel turns one of the new drones over in her hands.
What are these for?
Marcus makes room for the new drones next to the old ones.
Track predators, assess soil conditions, weather patterns, pests.
He takes the drone from her. He half smiles with a devilish glint in his eye.
Identify other troublesome creatures.
Isabel looks at him, but he turns away. Fitz chuckles.
Okay, I'm heading back.
Isabel starts to follow him.
No, ride back with him.
Isabel and Marcus both protest. He waves them off.
Not up for discussion. I've had enough of her company for a lifetime. It's your turn.
Marcus and Isabel avoid each other's glances. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, outbuilding moments later. Marcus taps on a tablet as Isabel leans over to watch. He has a drone on a strap slung over his shoulder.
Tracking soil conditions.
Exterior Whitewater Ranch, crop rows, same. He walks over to one of the solar-powered towers and points to the tubing that weaves along the ground through the crop row.
This senses moisture levels.
He holds out the tablet.
On this app, I can compare year to year, month to month.
He shows her the tablet, a dashboard of watering schedules, fertilizer combinations, planting and harvest calendars.
It also identifies pests with these.
He taps into a different app on the tablet. He prepares the drone and lets it lift into the sky.
Which receives photos from the drone and analyzes each image against known insects, larvae, or rodents.
Isabel is seriously impressed.
Wow. Where'd you get the apps?
His smile dazzles her.
I designed them. Friend developed them for me.
You should sell these apps. You'd make a killing.
I open source.
That's silly. Why not get paid for your ideas?
His face suddenly darkens.
When we limit knowledge to the few, the majority suffers.
He closes the tablet and guides the drone back down.
We better get back.
Exterior Whitewater Ranch, gravel road, early evening. Marcus and Isabel guide the horses to the crest of the hill. She stops to take it in one last time.
I owe you an apology.
For what?
Underestimating you?
Yep.
Isabel laughs, annoyed.
Well, how was I to know? I mean, Will said you never went to college.
Why don't you ask him about that precious degree of his? How he blew through his scholarship money and left Utah State in disgrace?
But he has a doctorate.
In his dreams, I'm sure he does.
Marcus rides on, leaving Isabel speechless. Interior Whitewater Ranch, stable, stall, dusk. Isabel removes the bridle and saddle, then wipes down the horse. Marcus does the same nearby. Cathy bursts through the doors.
Marcus, God damn it!
Marcus pops his head around the stall door.
Where have you been? I got the Hendersons, the McKnights, and Phil Tavish asking me questions I can't answer. Get your ass over there.
Marcus cocks his head sideways and studies his aunt's face.
A little worked up, are we?
She waves her hand dismissively, pacing in front of him.
Well, good Lord, I don't know all the fancy work you do, and I don't like looking like a fool.
No, I don't expect you do.
He closes the stall door and heads out. Cathy whips around to face Isabel. Cathy tries to control her anger, but fails.
And you, where in tarnation have you been all day?
Isabel strokes her horse's nose thoughtfully.
Did some chores, then toured the plateau.
Cathy senses the change in Isabel's demeanor.
What happened up there?
This catches Isabel by surprise.
What do you mean?
Cathy wags a finger in Isabel's face.
Be ready to change some minds tomorrow morning. I want this deal done.
Cathy storms off. Isabel silently brushes the horse. Interior Ag Corps headquarters, Haughton's office, night. Haughton reads an email from Isabel. Begin email. Please find everything you can on worker illness claims. A neighboring farm has quite an epidemic. Respiratory issues, coughing, rash. Symptoms started after they joined Ag Corps. End email. Haughton leans forward, rubbing his temples.
Isabel, what are you doing?
Exterior Whitewater Ranch barnyard morning. Cathy waves to one of the last customers as they drive away. Interior Whitewater Ranch barn, greenhouse, same. Fitz lets Sandra inspect the contents of an alfalfa bin. She pops some grain in her mouth and chews slowly.
Sugar content is a little high, but I know it's been a dry year, so
Fitz lets her consider things in silence.
I'll take my usual, plus 10%.
Fitz nods to Manuel, 50s, who stands near the grain elevator. Manuel wraps the top of an empty burlap sack around the opening of a large spout. He pulls a lever and grain pours into the sack. Exterior Whitewater Ranch barn, Sandra's truck, late morning. Marcus and Manuel load feed sacks into Sandra's luxury horse trailer. Cathy and Isabel walk down from a big house to join the farewell party. Cathy carries a large envelope. They hear Sandra chatting with Fitz.
You're the holdout, Fitz. Lord knows what's in other feet these days.
Sandra hugs Fitz and Marcus, then shakes Cathy's hand.
Pure the feed, pure the breed.
Safe travels.
Cathy hands Sandra a large envelope. Sandra pulls a receipt from the envelope. She chuckles.
Always a pleasure, Catherine.
Sandra winks at Marcus as she climbs into the driver's seat.
You're welcome back in Bradford whenever you get sick of this dump.
Fitz closes the driver door and waves as she drives away. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, barnyard, noon. Marcus follows Fitz back toward the barn. Isabel catches up.
Where's Bradford?
New Hampshire. Earned room and board for Dartmouth working for Sandra.
Isabel's jaw drops.
Dartmouth College?
He stops and looks right at her.
Agronomy.
Isabel is floored but tries to act cool.
I thought I knew everything about you by now.
Only the fool knows everything.
He brushes past her. She is dumbstruck. Interior Haughton residence, home office, night. Haughton continues to research fertilizer poisoning in the Ag Corps database but finds nothing. Then he tries to search for chemical litigation. A long list of files pops up. Exterior CU Lazy Farm barn morning. Isabel parks and enters the main barn door. Interior CU Lazy Farm barn moments later. Isabel follows the sound of coughing. She finds Billy leaning against the giant plastic tank, breathing with effort.
Billy?
Billy tries to stand up nonchalantly but can't recover.
Miss Isabel, I am a mess I apologize.
Here, sit.
She helps him to the stool where Mina sat 2 days prior.
My boss is researching some things for us. Your farm might not be the first to deal with this issue.
Billy waves his arm dismissively.
No, really. AgCorp could owe you recompense. Maybe the fertilizer concentration is off. Could be an easy fix. I know they'll make this right.
She smiles encouragingly. Billy stifles another cough.
Thank you, dear, but Will's got it all under control. You really don't have to make a fuss.
Exterior, See You Lazy Farm, side yard, late morning. Will washes his king cab truck, music blaring on the car radio, shirt off, aviator sunglasses gleaming. He is the picture of self-absorbed contentment. Exterior, See You Lazy Farm, bunkhouse, same. Workers lumber out to the fields, coughing, scratching open wounds, pulling on their sprayers for another hard day. Exterior, See You Lazy Farm, driveway, late morning. Isabel walks to her car but stops when she hears loud music near the barn. Exterior, See You Lazy Farm, side yard, moments later. Isabel watches Will wash his car. She is not as impressed as she was a day ago. Will notices her and smiles.
I was just thinking about you.
And I was just talking with your dad. I'd like to test your crew for toxic poisoning.
Why the hell for?
The more I read, the more I suspect it's something AgCorp's created.
I told you, the doctor said...
I know, but I think there's something going on no one's dealt with before. If AgCorp knew, they'd fix it.
If AgCorp knew, they'd shut me down.
Will stops to collect himself. He pulls on a t-shirt and turns the music off.
Look, I can't make waves. AgCorp's contract is very clear. Don't complain. Just grow the plants, sell the grain.
Exterior, Whitewater Ranch, barn, noon. Cathy confronts Isabel walking from her car. Marcus and Fitz work with the Morgan foal in the corral. Storm clouds gather.
Where have you been?
Marcus eavesdrops, but strains to hear through the wind.
It just came from Billy's.
Why the hell are you bothering with that ridiculous man?
I think he's got the same illness their workers have. I think they're all being poisoned.
And why do you care two giant turds about them? You're supposed to be helping me.
I can't sit back and watch sick people get worse when I might be the best person to help them.
You'll have no leverage with AgCorp if you don't complete this mission first.
Isabel winces in silent agreement as Cathy huffs off. Marcus ruminates on this latest information. Interior, Whitewater Ranch, big house, Isabel's room, afternoon. Isabel opens an email from Haughton's personal email address titled Confidential. She clicks on a link on an otherwise empty message. A login screen pops up for user ID and password. Isabel frowns, confused. A text notification pops up on her phone. She opens it to see login credentials. D. Haughton and U plus AH poison. She hears raised voices downstairs. Interior, Whitewater Ranch, big house, kitchen, afternoon. Cathy violently stacks pots and pans that have been drying on the drain board.
Missy, goddammit!
Missy enters from the pantry with an armful of vegetables.
What's wrong now?
Missy, how many times have I told you to keep this place tidy? We look like trailer trash around here.
Missy puts her stash in the sink and takes over from Cathy.
I'm starting dinner soon. It's silly to put them away just to pull them out again.
Now free from the pots and pans, Cathy looks around for something else to complain about. She spies the open window.
I mean, look at this dust. What do you do around here all day?
She wipes her finger along the sill. Missy swallows anger.
Do you do anything?
Across the yard, Cathy sees Fitz riding up to the plateau. She almost knocks Missy over, rushing out the door. Isabel and Missy look at each other, then run after her. Exterior, Whitewater Ranch, outbuilding, late afternoon. Fitz dismounts and hobbles his horse. The clouds are heavy, threatening rain at any moment. Cathy skids the pickup to a stop and bursts out of the cab angrily.
What the hell are you doing up here?
The wind makes Cathy look like a cowgirl version of Medusa and her hair of snakes.
Just forget this whole AgCorp bullshit, okay?
He turns back toward the outbuilding.
I'm tired of waiting. This ranch isn't making me rich, and I'm going to do something about it, once and for all.
Fitz hears a click and turns around. Cathy waves her pistol in his general direction. She blinks rain out of her eyes.
Good God, man, put that thing down.
He opens the building door.
Lord knows that ain't a toy.
Cathy follows him into the crop rows. Exterior, Whitewater Ranch, outbuilding, same. Missy and Isabel park the truck. They peek into the outbuilding, then and then hear Cathy's voice nearby. They search through the corn stalks until they see Cathy aiming her pistol at Fitz. Missy gasps.
Cathy!
Cathy jumps and her gun goes off. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, barn, same. Marcus moves hail bays into the barn before the rain lets loose. He whips around at the sound of gunshot, trying to place the location. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, crop rows, moments later. Fitz doubles over. His gut spews blood.
If you were aiming at my noggin, you're a piss-poor shot.
He drops to his knees, then falls into the mud, breathing hard. Cathy reaches to help him, but hesitates. Her eyes go cold.
Serves you right. Always pushing me down. If I'd run this place my way, I'd be set for life by now.
Fitz's words are labored but passionate.
You never had a pot to piss in until you roped Ben. I knew you were a gold digger, but kept my trap shut. You got more money than you know what to do with.
AgCorp will be my ticket for some real cash, even if I have to forge your signature.
She aims the pistol down at Fitz, this time with intention. His gaze burns steady. Another gunshot. Fitz's glare doesn't waver, but Cathy screams in pain.
Damn it! God damn it!
Cathy drops the pistol and looks up.
You!
She drops to her knees from the pain. Isabel whips around to see Missy still aiming a rifle at Cathy.
Missy!
Missy breathes hard, labored by her pent-up hatred.
Missy, what's going on? Put it down.
Isabel slowly reaches for the rifle. Missy lets her take it.
Tired of my own mother treating me like shit.
Cathy cradles her shattered hand in pain, unmoved by her daughter's words.
Radio the sheriff.
They hear tires skid hard in the gravel. Marcus appears.
Get this bitch out of my sight.
How do I...
The CB's in her truck. Go!
Missy runs to Cathy's truck. Marcus pulls Cathy away while she squirms and wails to high heaven. Isabel puts her jacket under Fitz's head. Interior Whitewater Ranch, Marcus's truck, early evening. Marcus ties Cathy's hands as she struggles. Her voice shakes.
What in God's name have you done, woman?
He shuts the door as she screams. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, crop rows, moments later. Isabel moves out of the way when Marcus returns to Fitz. She stands helpless as the tragic scene unfolds in front of her. Fitz curled into a fetal position, soaked with blood and rain and gasping for air.
Jesus.
Marcus quickly cradles Fitz's head in his lap.
Some might call me that.
Stop your squawking.
Isabel watches them waver between stoicism and grief. Fitz's speech is barely audible.
Tell Gordy.
I will.
You're the boss now.
Marcus tries to prop him up.
Dad, hold on. It's okay.
God, it sucks to be right all the time. I knew she...
Just breathe. It's okay.
But Marcus knows it's not okay. Fitz perks up momentarily.
Your mom's real proud of you. Ain't you, darling?
Marcus and Isabel follow Fitz's gaze into the crop rows. Fitz smiles peacefully and settles back into Marcus's lap.
I'm coming, Lottie.
Fitz's breathing slows until it stops. Isabel kneels to put her arm around Marcus, his head bowed low over Fitz. They remain there as the rain softens to mist and the storm blows away. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, big house night. The Emery County Rural EMS team, late 20s to 30s, gently carries Fitz's bagged body down the front steps, placing it into their vehicle. The sheriff's 60s leans against the porch railing, comforting a dazed Marcus. Isabel and Missy sit together on the porch until Missy suddenly walks to the sheriff's car. Interior, exterior, sheriff's car night. Isabel watches Missy open the car door. Cathy defiantly shakes hair out of her eyes and meets Missy's stare.
How did you know?
The night I came here, you made me clean out the cellar. I was terrified, but you made me stay down there until everything was clean and tidy. It took me all night, remember?
Cathy nods, unaffected.
You arrived unannounced and wanted a job, so I gave you one.
I organized boxes of photos, letters, and documents. My birth certificate has my father's name blacked out.
Billy.
Missy's eyes go wide. Isabel, Marcus, and the sheriff listen.
It happened in the back of his truck, not an hour after we were crowned prom, queen, and king. My mother shipped me off to an aunt in Chicago until you were born, but I raced back as soon as I could. Ma and I kept it hush-hush, so I could hook Ben before someone else did. Then you show up 18 years later and ruin my entire life.
She fiddles with her wedding ring, but not with affection.
I lived in fear from that day on that Ben would find out. Teenage pregnancies are never forgiven in this town, and I was not going back to that trailer park. Ben had a keen eye, and he figured it out on his own. He questioned me in Paris and offered to adopt you. He wanted to make you fourth partner and wouldn't take no objections.
Fitz was right. You killed your own husband.
Cathy looks away with a tinge of sadness in her eyes. She watches the EMS vehicle drive away.
I should have shot that nosy bastard sooner.
She looks desperately at Missy, almost pleading.
I could have left years ago.
The sheriff closes the door. Exterior Whitewater Ranch driveway night. Missy, Isabel, and Marcus watch the sheriff's car drive away. Interior Whitewater Ranch, barn, lab, late night. Isabel views something under the microscope.
Oh, Billy.
Marcus enters. Isabel quickly gathers her notes and laptop.
Sorry, I'll go.
No.
She looks at him.
No, you're fine. Do what you gotta do. What are you looking at anyway?
She passed the her notebook with "See You Lazy" on the cover.
I need to go figure this out.
He nods silently. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, big house, driveway, morning. Marcus watches Isabel's car pull away. Interior Ag Corps headquarters, Haughton's office, next morning. Isabel sits across from Haughton's desk. He rubs his temples.
This is out of control.
Which part?
Do you realize the shitstorm you set off? Lassiter and Jones are furious about Whitewater. And if they knew you had me digging into confidential files.
He paces.
There are decades of proof. People are dying, yet this company hides the truth. Hey, our lab will be the new mission. They can save face by settling out of court with these poison lawsuits, then quickly announce a new focus.
The door opens. Lassiter and Jones enter. Isabel stands up defiantly as Haughton sits down exhausted.
Welcome back, darling.
He settles in the chair Isabel just vacated and folds his hand behind his head.
You've been a busy girl. Not quite doing what you were supposed to do, but busy nonetheless.
Mr. Lassiter, I have blood tests that prove CU Lazy Farms workers are sick because of our fertilizer. Toxicity levels are proven deadly.
Oh, please.
I recommend we pivot to a new strategy. My seed project as the new corporate mission. AgCorp shifts to non-chemical products, promote a completely new farming package. We would quickly dominate the sustainable farming market.
She points through the internal office window to the poster in the hallway. AgCorp, where farmers are the top of the food chain.
All while proving our commitment to support every farmer and worker around the globe.
Jones and Lassiter look at each other with false enthusiasm.
Dominate the sustainable farming market. So we tell the board we're forsaking a $3 billion net worth to focus your little seeds and remind them that revenue stream won't be ready for years? This is a business, not a 4-H project.
Jones fans out numerous photos on the desk. Photos of Haughton, rifling through file drawers in a basement storage room, scanning piles of documents in the copy room. In many of the photos, Haughton looks over his shoulder, guilt-ridden and worried. Interior AgCorp headquarters, Haughton's office, late morning. Lassiter taps his finger on the photos.
Do you think we'd plow more money into a venture powered by snitches and liars?
Haughton rubs his temples again. His eyes fill with equal measure of remorse, defiance, and fear. Isabel leaves. Interior AgCorp headquarters, R&D lab, moments later. Isabel's desk is empty. The SBA lab architectural drawings have the word "Cancelled Project" scrawled over each one.
Oh my God.
Interior AgCorp headquarters hallway moments later. She turns the corner and collides with Lassiter.
Whoa there, darling.
What the hell have you done?
You ignored the ground rules. No loyalty, no deal.
She backs away.
My patent.
Interior AgCorp headquarters reception area, late morning. Isabel barrels up to the desk. The receptionist's 40s jumps.
Where's IP?
The receptionist nervously points down the hall. Interior AgCorp headquarters legal department moments later. Isabel opens a door labeled Intellectual Property Division. Interior AgCorp headquarters IP office, noon. Isabel looms over the IP director as he types.
We've no record of it.
Give it back.
I'm sorry. It's not in here. Could it be tied to a different name?
Interior Egg Corps headquarters stairwell afternoon. Isabel and Haughton speak in a whisper.
This might be the only place we can talk.
I can't work like this. We've got to get out of here. Go back to teaching or policy work.
Isabel, I'm in too deep. If I leave go public with what I know, they'll destroy me.
We can break this thing wide open.
There is so much you don't know. This thing is huge, and believe me, they built a fortress.
But they can't get away with this. They shouldn't.
A door opens, one flight above them. Footsteps.
Go. I'll call you later.
She slips out the nearby door. Haughton turns up the next flight of stairs as Jones is walking down.
Let's go for a drive, David.
Exterior Egg Corps headquarters parking lot moments later. Haughton and Jones get into Haughton's maroon Lexus. Two other burly men, 40s, join them and settle in the back seats. Exterior UC Davis campus, afternoon. Isabel drives past the UC Davis campus. She notices a group of students, 20s, on the Memorial Union lawn. The students watch as their professor, 40s, flies a drone. Quick flash, Marcus flies his new drone over the alfalfa fields. He looks right at Isabel and flashes his dazzling smile. End quick flash. Interior UC Davis, Murphy's office, late afternoon. Isabel sips a cup of tea on Murphy's office couch. Murphy sits in a lotus position on top of his desk.
Thanks for listening.
I hate to say it.
Then don't.
Awkward silence. Isabel looks out the office window, overlooking crop test fields. Dr. Murphy snaps to attention.
Wait, Whitewater Ranch in Emory, Utah?
Isabel nods, still looking out the window.
I actually met your farmers once at the Denver Stock Show. Totally random story.
They're ranchers.
She shakes her head.
Actually, they're both.
She smiles with admiration.
They do it all.
Interior UC Davis, Murphy's office, night. Murphy dials his desk phone and listens to the rings. Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house foyer, same. The phone continues to ring and ring. Interior church, morning. The church is full of locals as the organist, 70s, plays How Great Thou Art. Marcus lays Fitz's lasso on his coffin. Exterior church, noon. Marcus accepts hugs and sympathies. Murphy, dressed in a shabby suit from the 1980s, approaches Marcus. Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house library later. Murphy sits cross-legged on the piano bench as he relays Isabel's story to Marcus, who paces circles around the room. Interior Isabel's apartment, living room, late night. Isabel scrolls through photos on her phone. Missy snipping herbs in the garden, Marcus herding cattle, Cathy with her horse in a luxurious barn, Fitz feeding chickens in the mobile coop, Will and Billy on their front porch. Interior CU Lazy Farm kitchen morning. Will and Billy drink coffee. They hear noises outside. Exterior CU Lazy Farm barnyard moments later. An egg cord tech, 40s, walks from his truck toward the silos next to the barn. He carries a toolbox. Will joins him.
What's going on?
The egg cord tech doesn't make eye contact.
Got my orders.
To do what?
Sorry, wish I could have warned you.
The tech stops at the first silo. He pulls from his toolbox a heavy-duty chain and padlock with the egg cord logo.
Whoa, what the hell?
The tech locks the silo door. He moves toward the next silo to do the same. Will tries to stop him, but the tech pushes him away.
Call your rep, I'm just following orders.
My goddamn rep never calls me back.
Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house library, afternoon. Marcus pores over documents and photos strewn across the massive desk. 15-year-old Marcus holding a blue ribbon at the Utah State Science Fair finals. 10-year-old Marcus at a piano recital in a suit and tie. Marcus with Fitz and Lottie at high school graduation. Lottie is in a wheelchair with a breathing tube and air tank. Marcus in robe, mortarboarder, and honor cords. Only Fitz stand with him and proudly hold Marcus's Dartmouth diploma. Interior Attorney Gordon Collins' office, morning. Marcus sits solemnly in a chair across from the empty desk of Gordon Collins, Esquire. The office walls are lined with rodeo photos, law diplomas, and framed thank you notes. Gordy Collins, 60s, enters carrying mugs of coffee. He hands one to Marcus.
Thanks, Gordy.
Marcus sips quietly. Gordy settles into his chair.
Marcus, I'm so sorry about Fitz.
Marcus nods obligingly.
He was a dear friend and just a hell of a human being overall. I'm right shocked about Cathy. What tarnation got over her, I'll never understand.
He shuffles papers and clears his throat.
As you know, I won't be defending her at trial. We're bringing in someone from Green River.
Marcus nods. Gordy leans over the desk intensely.
Between you and me and the fence post, I'd just as soon let her rot in that cell.
Gordy reshuffles the papers to collect his emotions. He pulls out a specific sheet.
This here's the original agreement signed by Ben, Cathy, Fitz, and Lottie. It was amended when Lottie died. After Ben died, Fitz added you.
Marcus nods. None of this is news to him.
After Ben died, Fitz asked me to draft an amendment that shifted full ownership to you should anything unnatural happen to him.
And she signed it?
I worked for weeks on the language to make sure she wouldn't question it. And my best work, if I do say so. It's all yours.
Marcus smiles sadly, then notices a plaque on the wall.
You did patent law.
Lord, that was years ago. Not much use here for that specialty. Why?
Interior Los Angeles, Mulholland Middle School, continuous afternoon. Teachers prep for a new batch of students. Fresh paint and polished floors carry the annual wave of hope despite chronic administrative indifference and poor funding. Interior Mulholland Middle School. Isabel's classroom, same. Isabel finishes hanging the periodic table of elements on the wall. Other science-related posters hang throughout the room. She smiles at her handiwork. Interior Isabel's car, evening. Isabel drives home. Her Bluetooth speaker rings and rings, showing Haughton David on the dashboard display. She finally ends the call.
David, where are you?
Exterior lake, evening. Houghton's maroon Lexus teeters on the edge of a cliff. One of the burly men releases the parking brake and jumps away from the car. The other pushes the car off the cliff. As it hits the water, the trunk partially opens to reveal a large wrapped bundle. The car sinks slowly into the water, enveloped by inky waves. Interior Mulholland Middle School, Isabel's classroom, day. Students 12 to 13 years settle in as Isabel pulls down a screen.
Thought I'd give you guys a little history lesson today.
Groans. Kiva 12 pipes up from the back row.
About what? This is science, not history.
About me.
Isabel shuts the lights off and starts her PowerPoint.
I fell in love with science when I was your age.
The first slide. Young Isabel 12 drives a tractor at Lolo's farm. A few kids laugh. Isabel clicks to the next slide. Young Isabel holds a tray of seedlings. Maria 12 points to the screen.
Not very sciencey.
Actually, it's very sciencey. Those seedlings, you see, they were engineered by my grandfather and me.
Alejandro 13 sits back with his arms crossed.
You don't engineer seeds.
Sure you do. That's what seed scientists do. They take the best traits from last year's plants and put them all together to make better plants for next year.
And you do that?
I did.
She clicks through the next few slides. Isabel in her Ag Corps lab coat standing next to the SBA sign with her name on it. Isabel tending test crops with other postdocs at UC Davis. Isabel's faculty photo and bio from UC Davis.
You're a scientist?
The students look at each other. Some are impressed, others are skeptical.
Then why are you stuck here?
Isabel looks outside at the dead grass and the weeds popping through cracks in the parking lot.
I thought I could make a difference.
Interior Ag Corps headquarters, conference room, day. The Ag Corps Board of Directors assemble around the same highly varnished table in the impressive boardroom. IP's assistant place card announces his new position as IP Director. A new lackey sits next to him with a black metal file box at his side. Interior Ag Corps headquarters, conference room moments later. Lassiter enters at the same time as a woman, 30s, in a black suit who resembles Isabel. He takes his seat and smiles at her. She nods and moves further into the room. The men watch her curiously. Board member number 1 looks at Jones.
Who did Lassiter hire this time?
As she walks to the back of the room, everyone sees catering embroidered on the back of her jacket as she refreshes the coffee station. A few men hold their mugs up to her, and she pours them coffee on her way out. As the woman/caterer closes the door, Lassiter raises his own mug up as if proposing a toast.
Here's to our diversity initiatives.
The men nod and laugh. Lassiter stands.
Gentlemen, thank you for gathering at such short notice. I want to get you up to speed on a few changes so you are able to hear from the horse's mouth, as it were. Our esteemed colleague, Horatio Jones,
Jones nods to the room.
has determined the Sustainable Bio-Agriculture Lab, that is a mouthful, isn't it, will not be worthwhile at this time. As a result, we are repurposing those funds for more profitable endeavors.
Interior Ag Corps headquarters, SBA lab, same. A few marketing interns, 20s, take notes behind one-way glass as they watch their marketing manager, 40s, conduct a focus group, 40s to 60s.
Now, when I use the term sustainable farming, what do you envision?
A portly man, 50s, adjusts his trucker cap.
Isn't that what hippies do with gardens?
Next to him, a pregnant woman, 40, rubs her belly.
Yeah, they let weeds grow along with the plants. Don't make no sense at all. Just grow the food, seriously.
Everyone nods to each other. The marketing interns nod too.
Excellent. Thank you both. Anyone else?
Interior, Mulholland Middle School, Isabel's classroom, day. Some students build large planter boxes, others mix soil, others plant seeds in trays. Isabel flits from group to group, helping as needed. Maria reads instructions on the chalkboard. Instructions: add 1 cup of fertilizer to soil mixture.
What's in the fertilizer?
Isabel dips a measuring cup into the fertilizer bin.
This is bat guano. Bat poo.
The students squeal and laugh. Kiva and others sniff deeply.
Doesn't smell like poop.
It's been dried, so it shouldn't. Let's mix it into the soil really well.
All the kids take turns mixing with their hands. They laugh and make faces.
Nitrogen is one of the key things we need to grow really healthy plants. Our special fertilizer helps add nitrogen into the soil.
They keep mixing as Isabel draws on the board.
I once came up with a way to add nitrogen right into the seed.
She draws a plant with a large root system.
Basically, you take N2 nitrogen bacteria and N4 nitrogen material from the soil and sort of mix them together.
She writes N2 and N4, then squiggles circles between and through the two symbols, attempting to mix them.
Then you inject the new substance into the roots of the plant.
She draws a syringe that injects the N2, N4 liquid into the picture of the plant roots.
And hopefully the plant lets the new substance create its own little nitrogen factory inside the root system.
The students actually pay attention. Raoul, 13, shrugs his shoulders.
Is this something people want to do?
Isabel laughs in spite of herself.
Raoul, that is a great question. I had a contract with some people who said they wanted it, but they fired me and kept it for themselves. I bet on the wrong people, I guess.
Well, that's stupid. What are they going to do with it now?
Nothing.
Isabel and the students look over to see Marcus, who has been leaning against the doorway enjoying the conversation. Isabel freezes.
Who are you?
A friend of your teacher's.
He walks to the chalkboard and starts a new drawing.
You see, the people that took Dr. Castilla's work actually made a mistake.
He draws a rectangle.
Let's call this a contract.
The kids giggle at the simple picture.
And on every contract, you have a place where all the people involved sign their names to prove the agreement is valid.
Like the U.S. Constitution.
Exactly. So, if some of the people don't sign it, then the contract is called invalid, and the original person can take it back and start over.
Isabel suddenly sits down, realizing what Marcus is telling her. Marcus hands her a folder.
So, start over.
He flashes that luminous smile and she embraces him. Some kids cringe, but most of them laugh and cheer. Interior hotel, restaurant, bar, night. Isabel, Marcus, and Murphy sip drinks together.
Had it not been for this guy, I would never have known.
Thrilled to help.
Jesus, it's a small world.
Isabel squeezes Murphy's hand in earnest.
Yes, thank you so much.
Murphy downs his beer to escape the emotional moment.
Okay, so, Isabel, how will you proceed? Maybe discuss a partnership with the university, or I can connect you with other big ags?
Isabel rolls her wine glass between her fingers.
No, I'm not going down that same road again.
She looks at Marcus.
I'm thinking of a dusty, windy road this time.
Marcus cocks his head sideways.
I think I'll open source.
Murphy adjusts his man bun.
Wow. What have you done to my friend Isabel?
Marcus clinks his glass to Isabel's and looks at her one moment longer than necessary. Murphy reads the new mood.
I think I'll take my leave. Marcus, safe travels home. Isabel?
He winks at her and drifts away, his caftan flowing. Exterior hotel curbside valet stand later. Marcus walks Isabel to the valet station. She hands the parking attendant 20s her ticket, and he runs off. She turns to Marcus, who's as awkward as a teenager on a first date.
How can I ever thank you for everything?
Marcus hesitates as if he's considering many different responses. He decides on wishful thinking.
Stop by sometimes.
I would like that very much.
The parking attendant abruptly thrusts her keys into her face. She tips him, and he rushes away.
Well, guess I'll go. Night.
He waves awkwardly. She turns toward her car, but he is suddenly in front of her, holding her face, kissing her. Exterior hotel curbside valet stand moments later. Marcus pulls away, and they look at each other, smiling. He takes her keys and hands them back to the attendant and walks with Isabel back into the hotel. Interior hotel, Marcus's hotel room, morning. Isabel wakes to find Marcus gone. A rose is on his pillow. She holds a rose to her lips. Exterior Whitewater Ranch driveway afternoon. Missy hugs Marcus.
Welcome back.
How is he?
Ornery, but fine.
They walk up the front porch steps together. Interior Whitewater Ranch front room moments later. Billy is propped up on a settee next to the window. He wears a breathing tube in his nose, but he pulls it out when Marcus enters.
Put that back in, you stubborn old goat.
Billy chuckles, which starts a coughing fit. He puts the tube back in guiltily. Marcus sits beside him.
I'll get you boys some tea.
Missy, for God's sake, can't we have something a little stronger?
She waves him away dismissively on her way to the kitchen. Billy leans in expectantly.
Well, give me the details, man.
Marcus smiles bashfully.
Is she coming back?
The holidays, maybe.
Billy slaps his knee.
Dagnabbit, but I don't mean for no vacation. I mean for good.
Well, she's teaching. She can't just quit.
Billy glowers.
Did you even ask her?
Marcus's downcast face tells Billy all he needs to know. Exterior Mulholland Middle School day. Isabel students water their garden that borders the front of the school. Squash and pumpkins peek out between vibrant fall flowers. Cornstalks tower over the chain-linked fence. Isabel wipes dirt off a sign next to the garden entrance. David Haughton Memorial Garden. Kiva runs over to help Isabel.
So, who is this guy again?
He was my favorite professor and then my boss before I came here.
Where is he now?
Isabel smiles.
He's teaching in the great cosmic laboratory in the sky.
Kiva frowns with confusion as Isabel waves goodbye to all the students.
Have a great holiday!
Interior Isabel's car, freeway, I-70, late afternoon. Isabel turns off I-70 at the ranch exit, no services sign. Exterior Isabel's car, frontage road, moments later. She slows down in front of the See You Lazy Farm entrance. A sign is posted on the front door. No trespassing, property of Agriculture Corporation. Exterior Isabel's car, dirt road, late afternoon. Isabel smiles at the golden glow along the horizon. She notices the road has been recently graded for a smooth ride to the big house. Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house foyer, same. Marcus paces nervously and constantly looks out the window. Billy remarks from his settee.
By God, Marcus, you'll wear a trench in that very floor. Go find something useful to do until...
The sound of tires crunching gravel takes both their attention. Marcus smooths his shirt and peeks at himself in the hallway mirror. He inhales deeply, then walks slowly out the front door. Exterior Whitewater Ranch, big house moments later. Isabel carries her bag up the front steps. Marcus bounces down the steps to help her. When they reach the porch, he drops her bag and kisses her. They pull away when Missy joins them.
Oh, Isabel.
The women embrace. Missy starts to cry.
Sorry. It's just so nice to see you.
Missy, I'm so sorry about everything that happened. How are you?
Oh, we're just fine.
Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house foyer, continuous. She pulls Isabel inside, talking louder so Billy can hear.
Billy's a handful, though, aren't you?
Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house, front room, same. Isabel embraces Billy.
How are you?
Oh, fair to middling. Got the best nurse in Emery County right here.
Billy squeezes Missy's hand. Isabel hesitates but asks anyway.
And Will?
Marcus winces but bites his tongue.
Oh, he set out to find fame and fortune.
Interior Park City, Utah, hotel bar, day. Will sits next to the fireplace in a posh lounge area. Two wealthy divorcees, 40s, look him over hungrily. He finally approaches them with his signature swagger.
Ladies, I am your servant.
The ladies titter and clink glasses with him. Interior Whitewater Ranch, big house foyer, same. Marcus moves Isabel's bag back out to the front porch.
Shouldn't I take it upstairs?
Marcus looks at Isabel sitting next to Billy.
I think she'll be fine in the barn.
Marcus's intense look makes Isabel blush. Missy discreetly disappears into the kitchen.
Let's get you settled, City Mouse.
Exterior Whitewater Ranch driveway, late afternoon. Isabel and Marcus walk across the driveway toward the barn. She tries to mask nervousness with conversation.
How was harvest?
It was fine.
How's the foal?
Not such a foal anymore.
Oh, that's true.
He'll be a fine workhorse. Gentle manner, whip smart.
And how are the drones?
Really? The drones? They're fine, Isabel.
He holds the huge barn door open for her. Interior Whitewater Ranch barn, stately bedroom, moments later. Marcus sets the bags down. Isabel marvels again at the stellar view from the row of windows. She opens the French doors and walks out to the patio. Exterior Whitewater Ranch barn patio dusk. Isabel takes in the beautiful setting. Marcus joins her with glasses of wine.
I have to finish out the school year.
I know.
What about holding a summer harvest camp or something?
Marcus nods thoughtfully.
And a winter selected breeding camp, then a spring planting camp, and a cattle drive 101.
She settles into his arms.
We could do it all.
Together they watch the sunset over the pond. The end.